everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. We are gathered here to discuss a fascinating and highly relevant topic in today's educational landscape, the development of linguistic competence in young bilingual learners. Our main objective for this presentation is to understand the cognitive and linguistic process that the student experience on their path toward bilingualism. We aim to identify not only the common challenge they face, such as linguistic transfer or spelling interference, but also the remarkable strengths and pedagogical strategies that foster their growth. To illustrate this process in practical way, we will analyze the case of Alexandra, her tongue as a cognitive bridge. The challenge is in course with vocabulary and orthography, and how motivation and teacher support are key factors in her success. To cover this analysis effectively, we have a structured presentation in four main points. First, we will review Alexandra's profile and her bilingual context. Second, we will examine her strengths such as her ability to compare grammar rules across both languages. Here, we will identify the specific areas of opportunity and the challenge she faced in her writing and vocabulary acquisition. Fourth and finally, we will conclude by rewining the pedagogical strategies implemented by her teacher and how this ensured her continuous progress.
Alexandra is a 10-year-old student from Quito, Ecuador. She speaks Spanish at home and learns English at the school. She has studied English for 4 years and enjoys reading and participating in class. Although she sometimes mixes Spanish and English and makes spelling mistakes, she is making good progress in both languages.
Okay, now I'm going to explain how Alexandra's case relates to the concepts that we've studied. First, bilingualism is the ability to use two languages in different contexts. This doesn't necessarily mean that she is equal proficient in both languages, but rather that she can use them depending on the situation. In Alexandra's case, she speaks Spanish at home and learns English at the school, so she is developing proficiency in both languages. The second concept is biliteracy, which involves developing reading and writing skills in two languages. We see this process in Alexandra because she reads fluently in Spanish and has begun to read simple text in English, gradually strengthening her bilingual literacy skills. Then, literacy development refers to the strengthening of reading and writing skills through practice and constant exposure to the language. Alexandra improves these skills through activities she engages in both inside and outside the classroom. And finally, cognitive development refers to the strengthening of mental skills such as reasoning, memory, attention, and problem-solving ability. Alexandra demonstrates this development when she compares Spanish and English, identifies similarities between the two languages, and use the knowledge she already possesses to learn new content. Taken together, this concept helps us understand that learning a second language involves not only acquiring new vocabulary or learning grammatical rules, but also developing reading, writing, and thinking skills that contribute to the student's overall development. Continue.
Okay, and Alexandra case for the bilingualism and using to the language is a different context, and the Alexandra is speaking Spanish and at home with her family, as is because it her after the language and she learned an English in school and through the different cultural activity, and this allowed her to communicate about the language and gradually become a more proficient. Is another important concept is facilitary, and which is the ability to the read and to the language. And Alexandra already reads the influence in Spanish, and she is begging to develop the skills in English. Every write and the write activity help her become more confident and improve her the language ability. We can also see her literacy the develop because she is training the hearing, reading, and reading skills and constant practice and exposed to the English and books and classroom and records and a little bit of light, and she convey and bit of the understand the text and expression her idea. Um, Cognitive development refers to the way the bilingualists and support the teaching and the learning. And Alexandra compared the Spanish and English and counted her the previous in logic and with the new information and different simulators and the difference between both the language. The experiences helped her to develop analytical, the thinking, the problem solving, the skill, the memory, and cognitive the flexibility. And Alexander Kidd showed that the learning to the language not only improve the communication, but also the support the literacy, development, and the strategy important and connected the skill that will help has subject in the future. Thank you.
And now I'm going to relate Alexandra's case to the research article Bilingualism by Literacy and Cognitive Effects, a review paper by Eleni Ng. The article explains that bilingualism has positive cognitive effects such as better cognitive flexibility and attention control. Alexandra shows these benefits by comparing grammar rules between Spanish and English. The article also highlights metalinguistic awareness, which is the ability to understand how language works. Alexandra demonstrates this by recognizing similarities and differences between both languages. Another important concept is cross-linguistic transfer. She used her knowledge of Spanish to understand new English words, making English easier to learn. Finally, the article explains that reading and writing in two languages support literacy development. Science, Alexandra reads in Spanish and is beginning to read in English. She is strengthening her literacy skills in both languages. Overall, her experience reflects the benefits of bilingualism and biliteracy described in the research.
Okay, now I will explain the cognitive advantages that Alexandra shows in this case. First, Alexandra demonstrates cognitive flexibility. She used both Spanish and English in different situations. This helped her adapt to different languages and way of thinking. Second, Alexandra has metalinguistic awareness. She can compare grammar rules and notice similarities and differences between Spanish and English. This ability helps her understand how languages work and supports her language learning. Another advantage is cross-linguistic transfer. Alexandra used what she already knows in Spanish to understand new words and ideas in English. This makes learning a second language easier because she can connect previous knowledge with new information. Finally, Alexandra is developing strong cognitive skills. She enjoys reading in both languages, participates actively in class and works well with her classmates. This experience helped improve her communication, attention, and problem-solving skills. In conclusion, Alexandra's case shows that bilingualism can provide important cognitive benefits when students receive appropriate support at the school. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to explain the challenges that Alexandra faces as bilingual learner. First, her English vocabulary is smaller than her Spanish vocabulary because she uses Spanish at home and interacts more with it daily. This is completely normal for bilingual students. Second, they sometimes needs more time to remember English words. This happens because her brain has to select between two active languages at the same time. Another challenge is that she mixes Spanish and English when speaking and writing. This doesn't mean she is confused. Both languages are active in her mind while she communicates. Finally, she has spelling difficulties as she applies Spanish writing pattern to English words, for example, writing casa instead of house. All these challenges are normal in second language learning, and with practice and support at school, Alexandra will continue improving her English while maintaining a strong Spanish skills. Thank you.
Hi, I will present some pedagogical recommendations for Alexandra. First, teachers should use visual materials like pictures, videos, and graphic organizers because they make learning easier and help students understand new vocabulary. Second, it is important to encourage reading in both Spanish and English. Reading regularly helps expand vocabulary and improve comprehension in both languages. Third, teachers should promote speaking activities such as pair work and group discussions so Alexander can practice English in a supportive environment. Another recommendation is to give positive feedback. This increases motivation, builds confidence, and encourages students to keep learning. Finally, teachers should connect Spanish and English by comparing vocabulary and grammar. This helps Alexandra use her first language as a resource for learning English more effectively. In conclusion, Alexandra demonstrates that bilingualist learners can successfully develop both language and cognitive skills. Even though she experiences some difficulties, the right learning strategies and the continued support will help her become a more confident and successfully bilingualism student. Thank you for your attention.